Mortal Engines 3D movie looks terrible, but it's going. Alright guys, so I did go see Mortal Engines in 3D. Not a movie I was looking forward to. This movie did look pretty awful, but I like reviewing movies for you guys, so I had to go see it in theaters. And, I did see this movie in 3D, and I'm going to tell you guys right off the bat, don't see this movie in 3D. It's absolutely pointless. I forgot I was watching this movie in 3D, being honest with you. This movie's just so flat with its 3D conversion. The depth, there's barely any depth, barely any pop-out scenes, and it just made the movie just darker and dimmer. Nothing stood out in 3D, so if you're gonna see this movie, save that money for your snacks and see this movie in standard. If you're even gonna watch this movie, which I don't think it's necessary for you guys to watch this movie. But anyways, Mortal Engines basically takes place in a dystopian world in the future where basically there are cities that are on wheels, and one of these cities, there's this girl who's trying to get revenge on a guy who basically killed her mother when she was a kid. And Mortal Engines, just like the rest of the internet, I was misled by the trailer thinking that this was Peter Jackson's next movie that he would direct. Well, it's not. He just produced this movie, and they give him credit in this movie in the trailers just to get butts in the seats. I don't know. It worked for me because I actually did think that Peter Jackson directed this movie till I was in the theater and I saw that he did not direct this movie. The dude directing here is actually his first time directing, not his first time directing, but his first time directing an actual big movie. And you could tell because starting with a big $100 million movie is not the best way to start off your career, I would say. And now, I would say, when I say that this movie is big, I really do mean it's big. I won't lie, that very first sequence in the movie was actually kind of entertaining and very fun. And, to be honest, some of the action scenes here are, gigantic. They're fun scenes on their own. And, the movie has some exciting visuals and some decent CGI, so I'll give the movie that. But the actual movie itself, ouch. From the beginning of this movie, it feels like something is missing. And, because they just go straight to the point without any setup or anything leading up to the beginning of this movie. And that just made the movie feel incomplete, and it made not just that scene, but it also made the actual movie feel incoherent. And, throughout the movie, they just keep on throwing in subplots and storylines that I just didn't really seem to care for, at all. And some of them actually quite bored me. I was actually falling asleep for, the last 10 minutes of this movie. And, I don't know. This movie's just kind of boring with its storylines. There's just nothing new with any of the story in this movie. And I'll give them credit for this. They do try with the characters. They do give these backstories to these characters so they could hopefully make you care for these characters. But even with that, I just didn't care for any of the characters at all. They really tried, but I just didn't care for any of the characters. And Hugo Weaving's character, who is the villain in the movie, he was fine. He is not a great character entirely, but he wasn't awful in this movie. He was actually okay. And, the best character, in my opinion, who I actually did kind of feel something for, was actually a robot, zombie type character. I was actually kind of invested in his character, and if the movie mainly focused on him, then I would be hooked onto this movie because he was a very interesting character. He's the best character in this movie, and he only has about 15 minutes of screen time. So that's kind of sad because he's better than the main characters in this movie. He was more interesting than any other character in this movie. And the The script for this movie, sometimes it could be okay, at best, but for the majority of the movie, it's just so poor in its structure. It just doesn't really work for what they want to do. Sure, in the end, it had some some cool scenes, decent CGI, some great visuals, and I will say, throughout the movie, the score was awesome. It was actually composed by Junkie XL, who makes some really good soundtracks, and he made a really great soundtrack with this movie. I think this is one of the best things that came out from this movie because it's just so energetic and it's just so much fun. But just the story did not work, the characters did not work, and I just barely cared for any of the characters at all. The movie doesn't really even hit home run, and well, that is rather just kind of disappointing for a movie that is worth $100 million. With that being said, Mortal Engines is not a good movie. In my opinion, it's a time loss. And with that being said, I'm gonna give Mortal Engines a D+. This movie is incredibly forgettable. I mean, I just got out of watching this movie just a few hours ago, and I only remember like a mere 35% of this movie. Mortal Engines, not a good movie. Sure, cool visuals, cool action scenes, but it doesn't make for a good movie. 3D's pointless. I don't know. But if you guys seen this movie, let me know what you guys thought about it in the comment section down below. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.